Yes, we're going to start with checking our homework, and then I just want to add a few more things, even though they're not in the GED curriculum. I want to add more information so you understand a bit more physics, especially to relate to the daily experience. Okay, so when you look at session 2, it's all about explanation of each part of the Heather. What's so funny? You're laughing, huh? Okay,
My
someone's
cat is
actually.
really around.
Oh, okay. All right. So when you read through the session 2, you will notice that session 2 is actually the explanation about every single component of EM spectrum, starting from radio wave and ending with gamma rays. And you can also see how they produce, how they use, how they can be detected, and so on. I'm not going to go on every subtitle to explain it, but I'm going to call your name. And I think we finished number 1, have we? We
Yes,
finished
number
number 1
one.
in class the other day? Yes or no?
Also number 2.
Oh, number 2 as well. Okay. 3, describe how infrared detectors on satellite can be used to obtain information about the location of vegetation on Earth's surface. Okay, I said I'm going to call your names to answer my question. So let's start with, Victor.
Infrared rays on vegetation like forests and other stuff, it is cooler, so the satellite can pick that up and differentiate from what is vegetation and what's not.
Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Now that's the one I just want to explain, especially about infrared. Can anyone tell me how infrared radiations used in daily life? When you read through, anyone notice anything? Any volunteer? Yes, Ida.
On the remote control. The
Remote
red light.
control? Yep. And one more thing as well. Anyone noticed how infrared is used in our daily life? No? No one? Okay,
Is
in
the
this
laser
case,
pointer in presentation count as infrared?
yet no, laser, actually it is laser. When you actually look at here, you will see some types of night vision devices use infrared detectors. You see
I
that
thought
night
that
vision
was a
goggles,
military use,
especially
not a daily
on
use.
Hollywood movies, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, what is infrared? How do we detect?
Because infrared rays can like detect the temperature, so
Very
it can
good. As a
differentiate
form
heat.
of heat. Yes, thank you, Heather. As a form of heat. Now, I got another question for you. I'd like you to think about it, okay? Because, detecting infrared waves in this paragraph, electromagnetic waves are emitted by every object. That means every object means including it, right? So our bodies also emitting EM wave, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, but what part of EM wave our body is emitting? Our body is emitting gamma or X-rays or UV?
Infrared.
No,
Infrared.
Only infrared. Now, in this case, I'd like you to go back to that wave diagram, transverse wave diagram. Remember, we already discussed energy and the frequency. The higher the frequency, what do we have?
Higher the energy.
Higher
Higher
the energy. Very good. So when we actually look at it, infrared is actually here near visible light. Okay. Now, the thing is, I want you to remember one more thing. Okay. Refresh your memory about particle theory, kinetic theory of particles. Anyone remember? When do particles vibrate more?
And it's heat.
When it is hot, isn't it? Okay, so when you actually look at the frequency, can anyone relate the frequency to temperature? When do we have the particles vibrating more in when lower temperature or higher temperature?
Higher
Higher
temperature.
Higher temperature, the more vibration, that means there will be more frequency. Everyone agrees?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Now,
Yes.
let's go back to my first question. I said the paragraph said every object emits electromagnetic waves. So think about our bodies. Do we have atoms and molecules in our body?
Yes.
Yes.
Are they stationary or are they moving?
They're moving.
They're moving.
They're moving. We discussed it during biology. Remember body temperature? I said because we got 37-degree normal temperature because of the particles vibrating, right? In this case, when we die, those particles actually stop moving. And when I explained absolute zero, I mentioned that one. Okay, the particles are actually still vibrating, but not to reach to absolute zero. So as long as we are alive, particles, atoms, and molecules in our body still moving. But the movement, okay, our body temperature, it is high enough, like the sun, okay, high enough to produce gamma ray from our body. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Our body
Oh,
temperature is high
no.
enough to vibrate up the atoms and molecules in our body to produce gamma ray.
No.
No.
No, because the sun is millions of degrees. That's why particles are vibrating a lot faster than the vibration of the atoms and molecules in our body. But our body still got particles vibrating, and that vibration is actually produced as a part of the electromagnetic spectrum, not visible light, but infrared as a form of heat. Does it make sense? That's why when you use night goggle vision, that the goggles actually picks up the heat, okay, the infrared wave from your body. That's why you can actually see things in the dark, but you wouldn't see like you see in the light. Another thing is that's another device used to rescue people when they actually trapped, okay, under snow or in very old, very cold condition. So when the surrounding is very cold, your body will be actually, if the person is still alive, your body temperature will be actually higher than the surrounding icy cold area. Okay, in this case, rescue people can actually pick up the infrared from the body of the person who needs to be rescued. That's how infrared is used in daily life. Silence me, no. Okay, you are in silent strike or what? Okay, so that's another thing I like you to, like I said, I like to add a few more information as well. Now, next one, describe. No, that's what we already did. Number 4, explain why X-rays and gamma rays coming from space do not reach Earth's surface. We already discussed that one, but I'm going to, Ari, what do you think? Why don't we have gamma and X-ray on Earth from the sun?
Because like I think the Earth atmosphere absorbs them.
Filter out, yes. Okay,
Yes.
filter out. Yeah. So wouldn't let them pass through. Question 5, explain how the energy of electromagnetic waves change as the wavelength of the wave increase. And this ones we already discussed as well. Sun, what do you think?
If the wavelength increase, the frequency decrease,
Very good. Yes. And frequency decrease means what?
less energy.
Less energy. Very good. Okay. The last one, think critically. Why does the sun emit mostly infrared waves and visible light, and Earth emits infrared waves?
Because of temperature.
Sorry, because of
Temperature.
vibration and temperature. Yes, the Earth doesn't have high frequency wavelength because the temperature is not high enough to vibrate particles to emit visible light. Okay, question 7 is just for fun if you want to do it. Listing 5 objects in your home that produce electromagnetic waves. Another column lists next to each object type of the electromagnetic or waves produced, and the third column describe each object's use. So if you want to apply your knowledge, you can test yourself. Okay, this is optional. Now let's go to session 3. This one, it's all about the use of electromagnetic waves. Okay, again, starting from radio wave to gamma rays. Okay, so you can see how different objects, different devices on Earth use different parts of EM wave. Okay, so let's discuss the question answers very quickly. Describe how the cordless phone is now. We don't use cordless phone that often. 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, every household got a cordless phone. Now it's mobile phone. So, but I'm pretty sure you've seen cordless phone. Yes or no? Okay, good. So we can actually do that question. Simon, describe how a cordless phone is different from a cell phone.
Well, a cordless phone is transmitting radio waves from its antenna to its base, and a cell phone is transmitting signal to the station that is much farther away. So I think that's the difference. The difference is range.
Okay, if you want to be more specific, you can actually use cordless phone. What's the distance? 0.5 kilometers. Okay, that means 500 meters maximum. If the base is inside and if you take your phone outside, and then you won't be able to use it. Cell phone is different.
So what's the use? Like they use it to communicate ups and downstairs like that?
For cordless phone, no, you still can use it. Landline phone.
You mean
Cordless phone are usually landline phones from one country. You can even use the overseas phone call as well. But if you take this receiver away from the base, because it's actually coming from all the signals coming from, first of all, from the tower to this base, not to the receiver. So your receiver will pick up the signal from the base only. Does it make sense?
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Okay. All right. So we already got that one done. Explain how a communication satellite is used. A girl this time. Let's say Chell. Question 2. Explain how a communication satellite is used.
Hello, teacher. Hello.
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah. Where are you?
Hello, teacher.
Chell, can you hear me? Are you answering the question or not? I don't know what happened. It's something, the communication definitely not in a good form. All right, Chell, I can't hear any of your answer. Can you repeat it? Or probably poor connection. Okay, I'm going to pick another one then. Someone, okay, silent. How a communication satellite is used.
A communication satellite use radio wave to enable a user to accurately determine their position on Earth's surface by using GPS. Hello, teacher.
Chell, yes, can you hear me? Look, if your connection is not stable, don't worry, I'll come back to you later. Next one is about GPS. Everyone's actually, for me, I rely a lot on GPS, okay? And many of you do as I think. So what type of information a GPS receiver provides? When you use a GPS, what type of information do you have?
Location.
Location. Okay, a bit more. When you get, if you type on the GPS, right? If you actually put the address in there, what do you notice? Have you used GPS on the phone to walk or to go somewhere, to drive? Have you used it?
Like to measure the distance and
Distance,
to
very good. Distance. And then?
Latitude and longitude.
Okay, right. Latitude, longitude,
Like
good.
to receive the information.
Yeah. What type of information? For me, whenever I type in an address, the first thing I look at is time. How long it takes for me to get from point A to point B. That's the first thing I look at. Okay. after I look at that time, I look at the distance, how far it is. Okay, can I go for a shortcut or things like that? So time, distance, yes, longitude, latitude, and then things like that. So usually GPS use at least 3 satellites. Okay, it's called triangulation. Yes, Chel.
Yes, teacher. Can you hear me?
Now I can, yes.
Yes, teacher. For two, can I answer?
Okay, try it, because I didn't hear your answer first time.
I think X-rays and gamma rays differ in their source wave and wavelengths. Gamma rays have shorter wavelengths and higher energy compared to X-rays.
Hang on. You're looking at the session 2, question 2. I think we are now up to session 3.
Sorry, teacher. I think I have to explain it.
Okay, don't worry. Okay, yeah, okay. No, you're looking at session 2, I think. Yeah, X-ray and gamma rays in session 2. We are on session 3 now. Okay, that's right. Okay, now describe how an AM radio wave signal is used to transmit information. Now, that one includes a bit of energy transformation as well. Okay, so usually to get something transmission from the radio, you need sound wave, but sound wave got to be converted or changed into what form? From sound energy to what energy form?
Electrical
Anyone?
energy.
Electrical energy, and then it will be transmitted through the station, and then receiver will actually pick up the electric signals and then convert it or transformed back into sound wave. Okay, that's how the radio signals actually used to transmit information. The last one for this session, think critically. Explain why UV waves are not used to transmit signals to and from communication satellites. Any volunteer?
Because they are dangerous to human.
Because of, sorry?
Because they have higher energy, which is dangerous to humans.
Good. High energy, yeah. Okay. That's very good. Now we're going to move on to the chapter, the whole chapter study guide. So if you look at the main ideas for all 3 sections, you can actually get the notes. That's why I don't want you to take notes. It's already got summary here. But anyone did this one? Okay. We are
Yes.
going to complete this the spider map here. Electromagnetic waves, we got properties here. We got consists of 2 parts. What 2 parts do we have? Let's say April. Sorry, number 1.
Yeah, yes, teacher.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know the answer.
You don't know the answer. Okay, right. By the names, we already look at it. Electromagnetic waves consists of 2 parts. It's actually in the very first chapter. Can anyone answer it, please? Put your hand up if you already did it. Thank you, Heather. One
Electric
part?
and magnetic.
Electric and magnetic fields. That's why we call it electromagnetic wave. So it consists of 2 parts, okay? And we got the properties here, move at the speed of light, have wavelength and frequency. We all know that. Produced by what? Okay, that's actually a little summary. Wave. Produced by what?
Charge particles.
Yeah, charge
In
particle.
charge
What kind of charge?
vibrating charge particles.
Vibrating charged particle is a correct, complete answer. Yes, vibrating charged particles. Okay, and types of electromagnetic waves. This is an easy one. Okay, can someone tell me one type of electromagnetic? We can start from lower frequency or higher frequency. I don't mind. Okay, let's start from the lower frequency. Gugu, number 4.
Radio wave.
Radio wave, very good. Number 5. Maria?
Infrared waves.
Oh, after radio wave, is that okay, all right. Infrared,
It's microwave.
microwave. And then what's next, Juliet?
Can you hear me?
Too soft. Can you please speak louder? Radio wave, microwave, we got infrared, and then what?
Gamma ray.
Oh, gamma ray should be at the end because we're starting from the lower frequency. End.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, teacher.
so
I didn't hear the question
it's okay.
because of my electricity cut off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would be the next? Next to infrared?
Ultraviolet wave.
It's again on the high frequency end. So after we got radio wave, microwave, what else?
Infrared.
Infrared.
Infrared wave.
Infrared.
Infrared and visible light. Which one got higher frequency?
Infrared.
Visible light.
Infrared.
Visible light, then infrared, and then what? Now we go into the higher
Ultraviolet.
UV. Yeah, UV. After UV, we got the two highest dangerous one. What is it?
X-rays and
X-ray,
gamma
gamma
rays.
rays.
X-ray and gamma ray. Here it's not, but they have energy called, what kind of energy for number 10?
Radiant.
Radiant energy.
Radiant energy. Anything come from the sun, we already look at it, it's called radiant energy. Okay. Now everyone got the answer for this page?
Can you go through the electromagnetic waves again?
Which one? Give me the
Just
number,
like
please.
from the lowest to the highest.
Okay, now the lowest and highest, we got to actually start lowest from radio wave, and then highest is going to be gamma, right? In between, we have to sometimes this, especially for this question, I think 4 you got to use radio/microwave because they can be overlapping sometimes. Okay, so radio, microwave, and then what? Visible light, infrared,
Infrared.
UV, X-ray, and gamma ray.
X-rays.
X-ray and gamma ray. Got it?
So so visible light is part of electromagnetic wave.
Of course. Visible light is, remember when we discussed from the very beginning, here, see, I said this is the visible light. See, radio wave, microwave, infrared, and here you see the visible light thing, and ultraviolet is here, right? So visible light is a small part of electromagnetic spectrum. You can see it here as well. Okay, so visible light, okay, we got to make one correction. Radio wave, microwave, infrared, and visible. After visible light is UV. Okay, you got to change that thing on the last page. Got it?
Yes, teacher.
Any question? Visible light can be broken down into 7 different colors. That's what we discussed last lesson, right? Okay. Anyone did the question about this? EM wave, electromagnetic wave, and define energy and give an example of energy. This is a very easy one. We've been doing it over and over again, right? Can anyone define energy? What is energy?
The ability to do work.
Ability to do work. Give a form of energy, please. Give an example of energy, please.
Kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy. Very good. How are electromagnetic fields created? Why are they important?
By vibrating particles.
By vibrating charged particles. No, not normal particles, charged particles. Question 3 is already done. Venn diagram. I've already showed you, so we skip that one. Describe the link between electric fields and magnetic fields. What's the link?
One they have got electric and you have got like magnetic.
Very good. They are actually reinforcing each other from the beginning. I said, if there's an electric field, it can produce electric field. And if there's an electric field, we can actually get the magnetic field. So here, the first one, those two are linked. Changing fields from electromagnetic waves, okay? Right, the last one, what are 3 properties of waves to describe electromagnetic energy? Give examples of each property. Any volunteer?
The first one is frequency.
Yeah. Okay. And next 2?
If they can
Wavelength and amplitude.
Wavelength.
amplitude.
Okay.
Energy.
Energy is more important because you cannot, it's very impossible to measure the amplitude of electromagnetic wave. Okay, so energy, frequency, and wavelength. Those are the three things. So are we happy about this first lesson? Because I really don't want to leave all those homework unchecked. We already checked, we went through it. Put your hand up if you have any question about this lesson, because like I said, I still got to do the next lesson. This time we're going to look at the effect of electromagnetic radiation and a little bit more about light. But like I said, okay, in GED, not every part of physics is in GED syllabus. So light, they will actually mention only the dual nature of light. They're not actually talking about other properties of light, like reflection and refraction. So I will actually skip some things which is not in the GED scope and sequence, but I will actually mention something you should know. Okay, so that will actually help you as well. So we're going to start with the do now. Describe the picture provided. Give a reason why they are wearing the special outfit. Any question? Anyone?
To protect radiation.
Very good, sir. Yes. What kind of radiation we are looking at here?
X-ray.
X-ray.
X-ray. Very good. Okay, so they're wearing the safety occupational safety outfit to protect themselves from the X-ray. Why do we have to protect ourselves from X-rays? Gugu.
X-ray can harm our cells.
Very
Teacher, I
good.
also have a
Okay.
question.
Yes, go ahead.
They cover only the chest. What about their face and hand?
Okay, that's a good question because when X-ray actually penetrate, if it is a gamma rays, you got to wear the whole body cover. But if it is X-ray, X-ray can actually be more dangerous to your reproductive organs and the vital organs. Okay, other body parts usually with bones. Like when you look at it, see arms and legs are with bones and muscles, not other things. They are not as risky as the vital organs because X-ray can especially mutate the sex cells. That's why if a woman is pregnant, they're not taking any X-ray at all. Okay, that's one thing. And the other thing is, especially for the technician, they're using it all the time, so they got to protect themselves. Okay, so bones is all right. When we have broken bones, we're gonna take X-rays. So bone cells are not going to be damaged by X-rays, but sex cells will be, can be. Okay, right. So we look at the do now. So we're gonna move on. Now I'd like you to take the screenshot for this one. Okay, because when we have time, you will be doing it in the breakout room, or it will be homework. Okay, right. Another one and
Wait, can you
another
go
one.
back? Can you go back?
Yes,
It was
sir.
too fast.
This one,
Got it.
this one. Okay, and the last one. Okay, so like I said, if we have time, you will be doing it in the breakout room. Otherwise, you will do this as a checkpoint for the electromagnetic spectrum as homework. Okay, right. Let's move on. This time, the question: how does electromagnetic radiation affect living things and their environment? Okay, so think, pair, share means I'd like you to do it yourself. And then I'm going to send you to the breakout room. Then we're going to share our ideas. So the first part, I'd like you to write it in for yourself, or your own answer, how electromagnetic radiation affect the living things and the environment. I give you 2 minutes. And then I'm going to before I send you to the breakout room, I'm going to ask your answer as well. So write down whatever comes to your mind. 2 minutes.
I have a question. Electromagnetic radiation means which
Sorry,
part
what's your
of
question?
the yes,
What's your question?
it says electromagnetic radiation.
Mhm.
So which part of the spectrum, or the whole
The
part?
whole thing.
Oh,
When we say spectrum, you got to consider it's a whole spectrum. If we want particular part of the spectrum, we will say X-ray or gamma ray or light. Okay? Salam, you got the answer?
Yeah, I have got another question.
Yep. What is it?
Is that internet also related to radio waves?
Of course, yes. The whole spectrum, everything from radio to gamma. Okay, before I send you to the breakout room, I said I'm going to ask your answer. Heather,
Yes.
what's your answer for think? The first column. What do you think about the question? How does electromagnetic radiation affect living things and the environment?
Electromagnetic radiation can really help our living life, like the radio waves, because it can help us in their communication with each other, and also about like the visible light. We can see things during the day of time, and but there are also there are also good and bad sides. So some high wave with the long wavelength it can harm the living things and the environment.
Okay. Right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you to the breakout room only for 5 minutes. I'm not going to give you the endless time. I want you to focus on the environment. I know most of you will be able to answer how it affects living things. Okay. So in your group, in the breakout room, I'd like you to quickly discuss how it affects on the environment. And when you come back, every room got to answer the question. Any question? Like I said, only 5 minutes. So it's going to be a very quick one. And because I still got to do a lot.
Can you explain an example of relating with the environment?
Example, okay. For example, would it affect the air quality or water or anything in the environment? Or would it, even if it affects the plants and trees, it will affect the ecosystem. So how the electromagnetic radiation affect the environment? Okay, so in your group, I'd like you to discuss it, and the rooms are open.
Change.
Yep.
Can you
And what's your answer, room one?
It can affect the climate change. The UV can affect the climate change, and then loss of habitat, like that.
Okay. Room two.
Yes, X-ray and UV rays, these affect the living things, and we because of the X-ray, we can get the disadvantages in our body, and then also because of the UV rays, we can get the skin cancer or eye problem.
Okay. Room three, please.
Light energy helps us to do the plant photosynthesis. And like ever we make the snakes to connect each other.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, not bad. The last one, room four, please. Whatever you got, just share, please.
Photosynthesis from visible light.
Can you please speak up, Victor?
Photosynthesis for plants from visible light.
Okay, effect of the environment. Very good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is we're not going to discuss this now because I'm going to show you a little video. Okay, and for this video, you are going to, of course, do the questions, right? It's only 15 minutes. Take the screenshot. There are 12 questions. Okay, so it will be about the meaning of refraction and the refraction and the wavelength connection and things like that. So when you pay attention, you'll be able to do that easily. Right. Plus, I might actually, it is already on the LMS, but I might actually put this address into the chat box. So if you want to do it on your own, sometimes you cannot actually get the video on the LMS. So that's why I'm doing it. Okay, are we ready for the video?
Yes.
Okay, in this case, I got to share another one. Can everyone see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's see.
Welcome to Hitchhikers TV.
Yeah, boy!
Before watching this video, kindly subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button below and hit on the bell icon to be notified whenever we published a new video lesson. In this video lesson, let us explain the effects of electromagnetic radiation on living things and the environment. Spectrum is a continuous range of wavelengths. The types of radiation that occur in different parts of the spectrum have different uses and dangers, depending on their wavelength and frequency. Electromagnetic waves form a spectrum of different wavelengths. This spectrum includes visible light, X-rays, and radio waves. Electromagnetic radiation can be useful as well as hazardous. Colors of the visible spectrum white light can be split up to form a spectrum using a prism. This is a block of glass with a triangular cross-section. The light waves are refracted as they enter and leave the prism. The shorter the wavelength of the light, the more it is refracted. As a result, red light is refracted the least and violet light is refracted the most, causing the colored light to spread out to form a spectrum. This is called dispersion. Light, including the light produced by the sun, is a form of electromagnetic radiation, which is basically the type of radiation you find in the different kinds of light waves out there. Light waves don't have enough energy to penetrate into your skin, so they don't cause any damage to your cells. However, the sun also produces other forms of electromagnetic radiation that are invisible to human eyes. Ultraviolet light is a form of radiation that has a higher frequency than visible light. This means it also has a little bit more energy than visible light and can, therefore, penetrate into the top layers of your skin, causing damage to your cells and leading to a painful sunburn. Electromagnetic waves form a spectrum of different wavelengths. This spectrum includes visible light, X-rays, and radio waves. Electromagnetic radiation can be useful as well as hazardous. Hazards of electromagnetic radiation: overexposure to certain types of electromagnetic radiation can be harmful. The higher the frequency of the radiation, the more damage it is likely to cause to the body. Microwaves cause internal heating of body tissues. Infrared radiation is felt as heat and causes skin to burn. X-rays damage cells, causing mutations, which may lead to cancer and cell death. This is why doctors and dentists stand behind protective screens when taking lots of X-rays. Gamma rays also damage cells, causing mutations and cell death. Microwave radiation can be used to transmit signals, such as those for mobile phone calls. Microwave transmitters and receivers on buildings and masts communicate with the mobile phones in their range. There is concern that microwave radiation from mobile phones and masts may be harmful to our health. Ultraviolet radiation, UV, is found naturally in sunlight. We cannot see or feel ultraviolet radiation, but our skin responds to UV exposure by turning darker over time. This is called a suntan. This happens as our bodies attempt to reduce the amount of ultraviolet radiation reaching deeper skin tissues. Darker skins absorb more ultraviolet light, so less ultraviolet radiation reaches the deeper tissues. This is important, because ultraviolet radiation can cause cells to become cancerous. We should wear UV blocking sunscreen on sunny days to avoid skin cancer. Overexposure of our eyes to ultraviolet radiation can cause blindness, so we should wear hats and sunglasses on sunny days. Radiation caused cellular damage. While a sunburn is not a pleasant experience, the damage caused to living cells by electromagnetic radiation can sometimes be a lot worse. Inside every cell, there are chromosomes that contain all the information that tells your cells how to function and reproduce. Each chromosome is made up of a long chain of DNA. When cells are exposed to electromagnetic radiation, these DNA strands can be broken. This can cause lots of problems. If DNA is damaged, it can impair the ability of living cells to function the way they should. Changes in DNA caused by radiation can also be passed on when the cell divides, and these DNA changes can multiply and eventually cause cancer. Although ultraviolet radiation can only penetrate into the top layers of your skin, it can still do a lot of damage. Over time, you can get skin cancer and your skin may develop deep wrinkles, making you look a lot older than you really are. Other types of radiation, like X-rays and gamma rays, can have even more profound effects. Radiation-caused cellular death X-rays, which have more energy than UV rays, can penetrate deeper into your body. They can pass right through soft tissues, but not through hard tissue like bone. This makes them really useful for imaging the inside of your body. Usually, short, limited exposure to X-rays does not cause much cellular damage, but if you are exposed to X-rays for a long period of time, they can cause DNA damage, too. Gamma rays have even more energy than X-rays and are, therefore, even more dangerous. Even short exposures to gamma rays can cause significant cell damage. Certain species are probably particularly sensitive to electromagnetic fields, EMF animals, such as migratory birds, bats, and certain fish and insects, that are strongly dependent on magnetic fields for orientation or migration. Animals, such as sharks and rays, that possess electric sense organs. Animals with weak defense mechanisms. For instance, those with a limited ability to regulate their body temperature may be more vulnerable to the effects of high-frequency EMF. Apart from some minor local effects, no significant effects of EMF on environmental species have been identified. Studies occasionally published on the effects of EMF on species in the environment have generally been scattered in focus and uneven in quality. The available data is thus insufficient to assess the risk of EMF for the environment. What possible environmental effects have been studied? The few recent studies on environmental effects of electromagnetic fields, EMF, have mostly focused on extremely low frequency, ELF, fields, such as those generated by overhead power cables. They mostly considered plants and not species that would be expected to be among the most sensitive to EMF. Previously, studies mainly focused on the presence or absence of visible symptoms, endpoints, for instance a decrease in pollen fertility. Such results are relatively easy to interpret but may not reveal more subtle effects at low levels of exposure. In the last few years, studies increasingly used more sensitive tissue or blood tests to obtain information about specific processes within the organism, using biomarkers. These have measured, for instance, the amount of antioxidants in the blood, substances that indicate stress such as alanine, in plants, and heat shock proteins, in animals, changes in the growth of certain plant cells, DNA changes. Such tests seem to detect changes at low field strengths which are much closer to those generally found in the environment. However, their interpretation in terms of species and ecosystem health is more challenging. Unfortunately, these techniques have not particularly targeted species that would be expected to be among the most sensitive to EMF. In duckweed, exposed in the laboratory to low-intensity magnetic fields that vary in time at extremely low frequency, ELF, an accumulation of alanine occurred. Alanine accumulation is found as a stress signal following many other kinds of stress and might be explained by the generation of free radicals by the magnetic field. Effects of low-frequency electromagnetic fields on snails were observed both in the laboratory and under overhead power cables. The authors attribute the effects to the generation of free radicals by the low-frequency electromagnetic fields. The authors also observed effects on cell components and on DNA. However, no physical damage to the snails was reported. Several studies on plants have examined the combined impact of EMF and other environmental conditions, for instance the impact of exposure to EMF from a GSM telephone combined with calcium deprivation on flax seedling growth, or the impact of EMF combined with UVB radiation on cucumber seedling growth. These studies raise the question whether the impact of EMF may add itself to the effects of other environmental factors and what practical consequences this might have for individual plants and ecosystems. Some studies have focused on the biological effects of electromagnetic radiation. Microwave radiation has been reported as producing adverse effects in the central nervous system, CNS, including headache, sleep disorders, anxiety, cognitive dysfunction and neurogenesis impairment in both humans and animals. In vegetation, field studies of 50 to 60 Hz exposure to plants and crops have shown no effects at the levels normally found in the environment, nor even at field levels directly under power lines up to 765 kV. However, the variability of parameters associated with environmental conditions that affect plant growth, example soil, weather, would likely preclude observation of any possible low-level effects of electric field exposure. Damage to trees is well known to occur at electric field strengths far levels due to corona discharge at the tips of the leaves. Such field levels are found only close to the conductors of very high voltage power lines. In aquatic life, although all organisms are exposed to the geomagnetic field, marine animals are also exposed to natural electric fields caused by sea currents moving through the geomagnetic field. Electrosensitive fish, such as sharks and rays in oceans and catfish in fresh water, can orient themselves in response to very low electric fields by means of electroreceptive organs. Some investigators have suggested that human-made EMF from undersea power cables could interfere with the prey sensing or navigational abilities of these animals in the immediate vicinity of the sea cables. However, none of the studies performed to date to assess the impact of undersea cables on migratory fish, example salmon and eels, and all the relatively immobile fauna inhabiting the sea floor, example mollusks, have found any substantial behavioral or biological impact. Environmental studies are needed since any adverse influence of EMF on plants, animals such as birds, and other living organisms, while important in their own right, could also ultimately impact on human life and health. However, much of the existing work in this area has been scattered in approach and uneven in quality. A coordinated research agenda that addresses the scientific issues raised by increasing environmental EMF levels does not exist. In view of the facts discussed above, there is no urgent need to give research priority to this field over other health topics. However, while there is a small but active research effort in this area, it would be informative to design bioeffects research with wildlife species in mind and aimed at identifying their possible responses to new human-made sources of EMF energy. Appropriate choice of species for study is very important, example birds, since they can enter areas of high field strength. Develop environmental guidelines for EMF exposure at different frequencies, drawing on information from well-performed studies. Such guidelines might resemble those developed for human health, but with appropriately adapted thresholds to ensure that EMF levels are below those producing adverse consequences in the environment.
Okay, you can actually watch it again if you don't get all the answers for all questions, but let's just do a very quick discussion. Okay. is there enough study for the impact of EMF on the on environment? Yes or no?
From the video, I think no.
No. From the video, no. But in real life, have you ever come across with a study done, the study on impact of EMF on environment? Anyone notice any study, any research?
No.
No. But many studies actually done of the impact of EMF on especially human beings. Yes or no?
Yes.
Like microwave using your mobile phone, does it cause brain tumor and things like that? There's so many studies actually about the impact of EMF on human being, especially for health, like cancer risks and things. Okay, so yes, according to the video, there's not enough studies to decide the impact of EMF on the environment, but it should be done, maybe done. They're small but quite active studies still going on, so we don't know the exact impact of the EMF on the environment. Okay, so that can be, this is going to be your again homework, because I want to finish this lesson as well, and I want to do a little bit more about light. Okay, so what is light? Longitudinal or transverse? Wave or particles? What kind of wave? Is it longitudinal or transverse? First of all, we know that.
Transverse.
It is transverse because
Particles and wave are in opposite direction.
very good. Is that a mechanical wave or electromagnetic wave?
Electromagnetic.
Electromagnetic wave. Electromagnetic waves are always transverse or longitudinal? Transverse. That's why light is a transverse. And wave or particles? Both.
Wave.
Is that wave? Is that particles? Okay. That was the debate in the 18th century. Scientists were arguing, scientists were debating about the behavior of light. Is that wave or is that particle? The reason was both. The reason was behavior of light actually confusing. Sometimes it actually shows the wave behavior. Sometimes it shows the particle behaviors. Okay, that's why scientists were actually debating the whole nearly, I think, 20 years debating about the nature of light. Is it wave or particles? Finally, Einstein came in, and Einstein actually is very famous for relativity theory, but he got the Nobel Prize to explain that question. It's wave or particles, and he came up with photoelectric effect. That photoelectric effect actually gave him the Nobel Prize for Einstein, not the relativity theory, okay? He actually said it's actually both wave and particles nature. Now, in this case, you have to understand what are the wave nature, what's the particle nature. Particle natures mean it's going in straight line. If any particles coming in, if actually all the particles just go straight. If there's a boundary, they stopped. Okay, waves are different. Waves don't have to go through a straight line. It can go around because waves got other behavior. Okay, so in this case, we got to understand reflection, refraction, diffraction, and interference. I will just go through it very quickly because, like I said, it is not really the GED things. Reflection is bouncing back. Okay, every wave hits a boundary, bounce back. Remember radar. Okay, radar, actually radio waves hit the plane and bounce back. You see your image in the mirror because light waves actually bounce back or reflect. That's why you see the image. Now, refraction is different. Refraction is the changing direction of the wave, okay, or of speed and direction, okay? In other words, velocity of the light, velocity of the wave changes because of the medium. For example, think of ocean waves. Okay, ocean waves actually coming, and then they hit the sand beach. Where is the velocity of wave actually slow down? When it hits a sand or when it actually in the ocean? Where does it slow down?
The ocean.
In the oceans or when it hits a beach? When do you think the wave's going to go faster? When does it stop? In the ocean or when it hits the beach?
Beach.
The beach. So when the water's actually coming through, because of the depth of the sea level, it slows down. It's shallower, it's slower, and it stops finally. Okay, so that's actually called refraction. Refraction means, in this case, water waves, you can actually see the waves actually slowing down because of the depth. Okay, that's refraction. In light, anyone, I don't know, swimming pool example, if you actually look into the water, the swimming pool water might be closer to you, but when you go in there, you think it is not that close. It is actually deeper than you've seen. It is because of the refraction, the direction of the light change from air to water. That is called refraction. Okay, diffraction is when the waves coming out of a very narrow gap. Let's say we got water waves coming here, and if you get a little gap, they will come out bending. Okay, that is called diffraction. I cannot do any demonstration, but you can actually look for some stimulation online. Okay, in the lab we have a ripple tank, and we got slits to show that to make the demonstration. So this is called diffraction. That means bending of the waves after coming through a narrow gap. Now, interference means when those bent wavelengths actually interfere with another wave from another source, they can overlap. That's called interference. Okay, so now what you have to know is those are the wave behavior. Then light actually shows all those behavior. Okay, so lights actually was considered as wave. Okay, so wave behavior is another one. You can see transmission passing through, reflection bouncing back, diffraction is, like I said, changing the direction. Okay, not going straight line. Absorption, like can be absorbed. Refraction is changing direction. Diffraction is actually bending from the little slit. Okay, direction change. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at wave particles behavior. Okay, like I said, Einstein actually explained it. Particles behavior mean light's actually made of particles. And according to Einstein photoelectric effect means if you actually shine the lights on certain metal, okay, the electrons from the metals actually coming out as an electric current. That's basically about the solar energy. Okay, all the solar panels actually based on photoelectric effect as well. In this case, what happened is the particles, light particles, actually give the energy to the electrons in the metal. Okay, and that's why metals actually coming out. Electrons coming out of the metals. So the particles, light particles, are actually called photons. Okay, photons is different from electrons and protons. They don't have any mass. They just carry energy. That energy is completely transferred to the electrons in the metal. Okay, so that is actually the photoelectric effect, showing the particle nature of the light. Okay, so when we actually look at it, we already seen that, okay, the light's actually showing the interference, diffraction, and photoelectric effect. So basically, Einstein concluded light's got dual nature, okay? Photoelectric effects, photons, and wave nature. So this is about light. Why I am saying giving you this is some of the GED questions are about that dual nature. Even though the whole GED syllabus doesn't say anything about behavior of light in particular, they focus on that dual nature. That's why you have to understand that. Any question? Any question? If you do not have any question, like I said, this is take the screenshot for this one, question 54 to 59, it's all about wave. Remember in the beginning, I said, even though you don't know any physics, but if you can read and if you understand everything, you'll be able to answer the question. But we already did all of those. Yes or no? Have we done longitudinal transverse waves? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Have we looked at
Yes.
wavelength, frequency, period, and speed? Amplitude? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So that's why I said what I'm doing is I'm giving you all the information. So when you actually read the question, you got the idea. Oh, I knew that already. Okay. Right. The questions are here. 54, 55, 56, 57. Take a screenshot and up to 40. Right.
Teacher, can you go back?
Hmm?
Can you go? Yes, it's allowed.
Another one? Okay. In this case, I'd like you to do the questions for about 5 minutes, and then we will discuss the questions. Because we still have some, we still got about 10 minutes to go. So try as much as you can, and then we will check the answers.
Teacher, for question 55, the
Mhm.
wavelength is from the point to the another point that is at the same place. So it is the wavelength is 8 meters.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Anyone finish question 54? Yes, Zainab, what's your answer?
Just 0.5 hertz.
A, B, C, D?
A.
Anyone got different answers? No, that's a correct answer. What formula was it?
F equals 1.
F equals 1 over T. Very good. Question 55. Did anyone get any answer?
B.
I got B.
Okay. What formula do you use?
Wavelength times frequency.
Wavelength time frequency. What's a frequency here?
The frequency is 0.3.
Okay, or 1 over 3, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the answer is B. Very
B.
good. Okay. Right. What about question 56? Anyone got the answer? A, B, C, D.
A. B.
A.
I
We're
think
talking
B.
about the transverse wave, okay? That the
Yes.
direction of the wave is east to west, okay? And particle in the medium will be, which one?
I think A.
Okay. In this case, the transverse wave, the direction of wave is actually what? East to west.
East
So
to west.
straight line, east to west, XY. Okay? On the X, the horizontal one. What would be the particle movement? Are they parallel or they perpendicular?
Perpendicular.
In this case, would that be A? The particles are moving east and west. They are parallel, isn't it?
Yes.
So which one would it be?
B.
B? East to west? East to west again?
I think C then.
C. I think.
C, north to south only.
Yes. Oh no,
North to
B.
south only.
B.
It comes back up.
Oh my God,
No.
finally.
We chose
Yes.
every single
The
answer.
particles will be vibrating up, down, isn't it? Because the wave is going east to west. So particles moving up and down. In this case, the answer should be D. Everyone agrees. Okay,
Yes.
so now I've got only 2 more minutes to go. The rest is your homework. Remember, I got some questions at the beginning as well about EM spectrum as well. So those are all your homework. Any question? Any question? if you do not have any question, I am going to finish physics very soon, but we're going to move on to the art and space. We're going to look at the Big Bang Theory and then the other structure of the earth and so on. Okay, so I'd like you to go back and check all the homework if you haven't done all of it. And if you have questions, come and see me at office hour during office hour today, okay, 5 to 6. All right. And if you do not have any question, I'm going to let you go. All right. Bye, everyone.